of this particular park, and what do we expect will be coming up in the coming days and weeks and months and all of that. Are there other parks? Yeah, so we're going to be talking to Minister Chokonkwe. You know that the Independence Day celebration, like 176 Independence Day celebration, is almost upon us now. Last evening, we had the Golden Image Award, which is characteristic of these events. And there's going to be, there were a lot of different awards given out to some of the different honorees and all of that. Tomorrow there's going to be, today I understand there's going to be a Juma prayer. That's the Islamic prayer. The president is going to be attending an event at the Jacobstown community. So that's going to be happening. We'll attempt to speak to Andy Kwame because there's going to be an all-day sports affair on tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at the SKD Sports Stadium. So we'll talk to Andy Kwame at some point during the course of the conversation to tell us what exactly will be happening. There's also an economic update on Liberia from the World Bank, which sort of paints a glorious picture, and not necessarily, a positive picture at least, maybe not glorious, a positive picture about the outlook of the Liberian economy and some of the potentials there are and all of that. It quite, strikingly contradicts all of the different narratives that opposition folks want you to believe. They are the only people in Liberia who seem not to recognize these different predictions coming from the IMF and the World Bank, talking about the progress Liberia is making in all of their press releases and what have you, in all of their different narratives. When they bound the podium, it seems as if it's become so treat and sort of a cliche now to them to talk about economic challenges. And when Liberia is the only country or one of the few countries that are doing, one of the few countries that's doing so well as far as the economy is concerned. We are controlling inflation. We're expanding the economy and all of that. We've been recognized by the World Bank and the IMF. But then whenever our opposition folks speak, they'll say, the economic challenge was going to print, including last evening. And by the way, we're going to be talking about last evening press release from the Unity Party that essentially talked about the standard bearer traveling overseas for graduation. They say he's traveling. Imagine on the eve of campaign, they having their standard bearer leave the country for 2 weeks. Graduation. So, is it graduation or something else? The Analyst newspaper was asking this morning. In fact, the Analyst newspaper has gone further to say, according to their reliable sources, this is not a graduation trip. We're going to be telling you more about that. My name is Boakai M. Fofana, and at some point during the course of the conversation, by the way, at 9 o'clock, we're going to be talking to the university chapter of the new movement in town that's been making headways. It's been, it's changing the narrative as far as, all of these lies are concerned about, the president's days, the where is that, and all of that. The We Are Intellectual movement has been changing the narrative. It's been making appearances on different platforms and all of that. But the movement is also creating county chapters as well as university chapters. So one of our chapters, and I say our because I am the chairman of that group. So one of our chapters is going to be appearing this morning from the Stella Maris University. We're going to have 4 representatives from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. There's been a lot of different support coming from the young people, right, for the president. These are quite young potential voters. They're going to be telling us, why do they feel so much affinity for His Excellency the President? So those are the things we're going to be talking about this morning. Like I was about to say, my name is Boakai M. Fofana. I am the Deputy Minister for Technical Services at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. I'm always on this platform along with
Daniel Nuxe Thomas. I'm the Assistant Minister for Information Services. Good morning, Liberia.
Along with Kwame the Power Weeks as well. Kwame isn't in our studio this morning. Apparently, at some point during the conversation, he's going to come in, but right now he's not here. He is my co-host. But yeah, you're listening to Micat. Welcome back to Micat Hour. Like I was saying earlier, the president of Liberia, His Excellency George Manawia, the man who went ahead in the 90s, triumph the world stage, becoming the only African ever since that event that he became the world best player. He's the only African who has achieved such a remarkable feat. But during that time when he was making millions of dollars, he still left his professional duties to come and help our country. He was assisting with this armament of young people, assisting with preaching of peace messages, even risking his own life. When not a lot of politicians, some of the folks making the claims to the laying claims to the presidency, some of those folks didn't want to even identify with Liberia at the time. It was this man, this singular figure, who was moving here, there, yonder, to talk about peace and giving out peace messages. It seemed as if a lot of our young people were not born at the time, but at least they're beginning to get the message now that this figure is very much patriotic. And they demonstrated that level of support for him during the course of the week on a working day. So it was on a Monday. Normally, people can say, don't plan an event on Monday. Everybody going to work and all of those stuff because not many people are going to show up. But there was such, when the political party that the president leads, the ruling coalition with Democratic Change, organized the event on Monday, there were a lot of skepticism. And it went ahead in spite of the fact that it was raining and there were very limited preparations. And never once did I hear anybody on radio advertising this event. I didn't hear anybody talking about it on any other radio station. Or maybe there were one or two or what have you. But like the February 4 event happened, there were massive preparation here and there. There were paraphernalia going up all over the place. In fact, for the thank you rally, I think the paraphernalia went up the night before the event. And it just went in a few areas. But guess what? The turnout, I would think, by my own estimation, surpassed many other turnouts that supporters of the president have demonstrated, Daniel.
Yes. Again, I want to say thank you, Boakai, for laying the premise. What I saw on Monday, like I've always said, reminds me of 2005. You just said something candidly clear. The president, unlike other opposition leaders today, has got a history. Even Liberians born 20 years ago still know George Weah's history.
Yeah.
If you ask them today what's Boakai's history, there's nobody who can tell you, besides those folks who were in his enclave at its point in time.
Yeah.
So what happened on Monday was a deliberate decision to prove our genuinity as it relates to our sincere population of Liberians that support His Excellency. Boakai, going to the trenches, leaving your abode, your luxury, and going to the trenches and supporting young Liberians in the disarmament process that led to the DDRR, going to Ghana and other places, and assisting Liberians who were exiled because of a crisis and conflict that he didn't create, speaks volume as it relates to who the president is. So what I saw on Monday, I wasn't surprised. In fact, it's just a caveat to those who feels that this president has done nothing. So most times I kind of ask, if you place Joseph Boakai on a pedestal and you place President Weah on a pedestal, and ask Liberian people justly, what are the achievements of these two individuals? You come to find out that the skill is going to weigh heavy on the president. Mm-hmm. So on a Monday is just a message carried by our numerous messengers, the Liberian people, that they have resolved to go all out in their numbers and re-elect the president come October 10, 2023. And this is not a new thing for any of us because this is the kind of man he is. And we're going to continue to resonate these messages and ensure that our people see the difference between Boakai and Weah.
I was I went to that event. I'm sure, like many of us, we went very early in the morning because, as a matter of fact, the Weah Intellectual Movement was supposed to have a parade, and we did have a parade, by the way. Mm-hmm. But we went there very early with some skepticism. Not the day before. The day before, we were quite confident, But on that day, there was a lot of rain. Rain came, there was, was really poor. So I was thinking, I said, will people brave the rain and then in the bad weather and all of that to just come to this event to just say thank you and just go back? But they did do exactly that. They came out in their numbers. I mean, I remember we were seated somewhere in Congo Town, and the folks were just pouring in. And I started to get text messages from people telling us that the number of people that were in the city center, there were so many that the party headquarters could not contain them, and folks were just coming out. And guess what? These were people from different demographic that make up different demographic of the population. I'm talking about old and young, but obviously they were predominantly young people for obvious reasons. President Weah is the youngest of all of the candidates. The rest of them are almost, if they are not octogenarian, which in other words, they're 80 years old and above. The other will be almost a septuagenarian. He's almost 70 years old. They have quite a major disconnect from the population. The only person who seems to affiliate with it much and who does exactly what they do, who goes on platforms that young people go on, and all of those stuff is the president. He has much affinity to young people. He's lived their lives, and it seems as if he connects to them in a way that none of the other candidate does. So that's why they seem to like him quite a lot. And they did show that support on Monday by coming up in great numbers. And guess what? It was quite interesting to see that TikTok, the new social media platform, was blaring with songs of the president and people dancing on there, mainly young people, just showing their level of support, and they were sharing those TikTok dances on social media, and it seemed as if that encouraged a lot of people to also turn out. But even at the party headquarters, that could not contain the crowd. That was it was so small. Could not contain the crowd. They were spreading all over the Sinker belt. There were people around the old road. There were people as far as 24th Street, all over the place. So this was a rude awakening to members of the opposition. They had consistently peddled this narrative that the president was unpopular, that people were tired with him, and all of that, and that it was time for them, that they were going to win these elections, and all of that. But it seems as if Monday's event sent them into crisis mode. I can personally attest to the fact that I've received a lot of different text messages of former friends, that if not former friends, friends in the opposition, who are basically saying, my man. Firstly, one of them say you're just we're trying to understand, but other folks are basically saying that they want to come over. Yeah, and in the coming days, you might see a lot of different declarations of support because nobody wants to be on the losing side. The train is moving, and it might leave you behind. Boakai and other folks in the opposition have shown such level of inconsistency and the lack of leadership skills, as a matter of fact, some of which we're going to be talking about during the course of this conversation, that it gets a lot of people afraid. So during that event, some of the folks that we saw just made up a lot of different, were consisting of a lot of different people within the population, the general population. They were old, they were young, there were young professionals, there were older professionals, there were people from different strata who initially were not characterized as those who generally would support the president, but they did turn out, in their numbers. I remember that at that occasion, in fact, there was speculation that the president and the vice president would probably have called it off because, as a matter of fact, I think they did make some indications that they wanted the program to be called off because of the sheer number of people that turned out. The crowd was so large. There were fire trucks putting out water because some other people were fainting during the course of the event. Unfortunately, I think that's what brought some of the speculation and the fact that the president was also concerned about that. He wanted to call the event off. I think he even did make that indication, but then after everything was taken care of, there was a change of heart. That David and Daniel.
Yeah. So thank you, Boakai. But let me go back a little bit to the president's connection to the youthful population of Liberia. I think this is more of a reminder of what their parents, because most of these young people that the president seems to appeal to today weren't around when we had a civil crisis, and his relationship with their parents hopefully has ignited the kind of passion that they share today. But notwithstanding that, Boakai, unlike other opposition political leaders, President Weah continued to demonstrate commonality amongst the people of Liberia. Right? This is a president who goes anywhere, anytime. And he's not the kind of person with the bourgeoisie or the elitist mentality. Right? He's a man who believes that his attributes are those of the Liberian people. And the only way you magnetize such individuals or people or a population is when the people see themselves in you. The unfortunate thing is that none of the political oppositions that are contesting against President Weah has got even 5% of the thoughts of the ordinary people as it relates to seeing them amongst them. You may have seen that President Weah became a mentor, a political mentor in a sense. He plays checker once upon a time. Boakai started playing Lulu.
Yeah.
He wears his famous jersey. Boakai starts to wear jersey. Okay. He plays soccer. Boakai tries to kick off. And the list goes on and on and on. It's just an impression of what he's left, the prints he's left across even their own minds.
Yeah.
Honestly, between you and I, they're very aware that they are no match for George Weah.
Yeah.
Okay. But one of the things, the attribute of the Unity Party today is the grave history of deception. They will continue to deceive the people without anything to show. Right? I was asking a colleague the other day, a few days ago, just Tuesday after our program, and I was kind of confused when the guy said that we paid to truck people. So I look at this brother a very long time, and I said to him, "I'm sorry for you." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because if you are saying to me the crowd you saw out there, in fact, across Monserrate County that day, and you say to me that we pay each of those people $20 to come out, then I think there's no money left in our national coffers."
I know.
Because imagine individuals were even doing, I haven't seen print screen for a long time. People were print screening, doing the sifting of the t-shirts to come again. This 2023, they've brought back this essence of 2005, Boakai. When in our different communities, we'll carry even your t-shirt dirty. We'll tie another t-shirt and put CDC on the t-shirt.
I know.
It's happening again. So I look at the guy and I say, "Look, my man, I don't want to waste my time on you. You're just joking." Because this president in question is no ordinary Liberian. This is a man that has cut across the nooks and crannies of our society.
Yeah.
So you can't come here and tell anybody. If I want to Omar, I'll tell you, say, "But you go pay your own money." They care people Osa. So you're telling me, Omar, and me who came Osa, who left my market to go see my son, to go say thank you for paying my YFE. So he came in $20. He said the man has given him more than $20. This man was able to identify with me and my family indirectly from a national perspective. So for you to come and say that we trucked people that day, it is completely delirious, Boakai. So I hope and pray that they are aware that the world is watching, that Liberians are speaking. Because they started this scarecrow tactics as if they saw it on Monday. They started a scarecrow tactic of, the people will rig the election. They will do that one. What have you done that changes the argument in the public space? You've done nothing. You had the Lofa Multilateral High School that's been there since the 90s when the war came. It was this honest, hardworking president who went and not just rehabilitated that, but added a 21st century TVET center that provides immense opportunity for poor Lofa. You want to tell me the poor Lofa will look at that and say because Boakai from Lofa County will lead George Weah?
I know.
They gotta be joking, Boakai. So this is just a showmanship deception from the opposition. That's a crazy, right? It's so silly to me, brother.
I'm specifically playing that because I wanted to just emphasize the momentum, the electrifying atmosphere that happened on Monday. It was quite electrifying. This song was playing all over the place. Folks were just
even the clubs,
dancing it and all over the place. They was all in the clubs the evening, that evening, in fact. So it seems as if this is becoming the anthem, Daniel, of the whole election season. What do you think?
2005, we had Monkey Calm Down.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
2011, we have Pharaoh Let Our People Go.
Yeah.
This 2023, you see what we're having? In fact, 2017 and 16, we had Country Giant.
Yeah.
Now, that song you're listening to, it is going to be the one that is going to drive. But don't be surprised. There are many others that are creating theirs as well. Look, Boakai, you see, it is easier to sell President Weah in songs, in narratives, in arguments, but it is difficult to sell the other folks. You know why? Good. President Weah himself is a musician.
I know.
He sung for himself and other people. Today, his songs are being played. President Weah himself is the regular guy around the corridor that when you throw jabs at, his jabs are bigger. He appeals to the population in terms of what they understand. He understands the jargons. He's there with them. So it is easier for our professional and a great artist to sell this candidate.
So what do you make of the, let's get to it quickly. What do you make of the new campaign chair, the new campaign manager?
Well, on a serious note, I mean, this is a part of the show that I was actually waiting for. He is extraordinarily great. I tell you this. In fact, this is one person who's mentored and inspired my communication career. And he's been an idol. Or Commissioner Nangwe, the choice of being our campaign manager is very, very sincere because he's got, he's similar to the president, Boakai. Let me be honest with you. Commissioner Nangwe cuts across the population. This is a man who does not segregate, who knows no division, no bound. You can go to West Point, you see one of the local shops talking to just anybody. He appeals to the consciences of the people because he's been with them. And besides that, he has great skill set as it relates to communicating the issues, both intellectually and even at our local dimension. Plus, he is an open-minded leader who cheerfully identifies with the most needed population. And he also is a person who spots talents on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's somebody who he sees the propensity in you in terms of development. And he brings out that best.
Yeah, he seemed to have a knack for spotting talent and developing it. But another thing is, I mean, firstly, when the announcement was made, it didn't seem it might have been surprising to some, but it seemed as if a lot of folks saw it coming. Considering the fact that nobody else seems so suitable because he not only cuts across different facets of society, the different strata, the different layers. That is to say, have you seen at a restaurant where there are folks that are uppity and maybe make up a certain class of society? Obviously, you're going to see him out as such. But then if you see him, hang out with the folks say maybe some of the Zogos and the or maybe that's not a good example, but just folks lower that down there, and then you might not even be able to distinguish. So that's how he cuts across different facets of society. But also he has a great pedigree as far as the Liberian political history is concerned.
Yep.
He's been around for quite a long time. From the Judy Bryan to the Moses Blah to the Taylor.
Go back. Greater Liberia. He was writing officially in Bangladesh.
Yeah, he's a journalist.
Yes.
And all of that. So
it's a long journey.
There's been a lot of different speculation about what exactly he brings to the table. Some of the pundits have said where he brings the common touch. to the table, folks can easily relate to. He said, for instance, the campaign manager wants to go out there and win additional souls within the opposition community. He can do that quite easily than any other person, within the movement. So maybe those are some of the calculations that went into that. Plus, he's quite a shrewd strategist. He works behind the scene, controls,
delegate responsibilities.
But yeah, he's also very adept at delegating different responsibilities and all of that. So yeah, so we're going to be watching exactly what happens in the coming days. We're going to see who are other members of that team. Eugene Nangbe has been on every side of the different political divide. Not everybody, but at least the major sides of the different political divide.
Exactly.
So he understands the dynamics, the mindset, and all of that. So it seems as those were the thinkings that went into his selection as the campaign manager. People have talked about how introspective President George Weah is, and intelligent when it comes to these kinds of things. Some of it don't seem quite obvious to the ordinary eye, but some of his speaks and decision making goes beyond these ordinary conversations and what have you. So maybe these are some of the thinkings that went into his selection of Commissioner Eugene. And by the way, following his selection, he took a sabbatical from his office as Commissioner General of the Liberal Maritime Authority, because he had to afford him sufficient time to do that, but also it's in keeping with the some of the regulations and all of that. So yeah, so let's move on today, and I'm going to call Minister Kui very shortly. Today is going to be a major dedication of a project, yet another infrastructure project. The president is changing the outlook of Liberia little by little. Not many people remember that, for lack of a better one, that we had a Pupufi rare in Cinco opposite fish market. It was essentially, in fact, Front Page Africa characterized it very well in the story that followed the dedication. They said from a Pupufi to a modern park.
Yep.
That's exactly what it was. It was a Pupufi.
Agree.
Now we've had other parks being developed across the country as we speak. We have the modern stadium that was also created in West Point. The Tusafi was also developed as we speak. Another park is being developed in the PHP community. But today we're going to be dedicating the Claratown Park. That is quite significant because Claratown is a community that the president grew up in. And by the way, you know that on the Invincible Park, at the Invincible Park, the president played football there, right? And so he's been quite intentional about developing these areas. He said, well, I can be president, and some of the places I played, and some of the places move about remain the same. So he transformed quite radically the former Rehe Fee or the Pupu place that got called now to a place that we call the Invincible Park. Now the Claratown area where he used to play with Young Survivors. Young Survivors was a community team at the time. The president used to play there. People. The last time I want to go and dedicate the Dole community and Claratown Road, he was recognizing people in the community. People. I was surprised. The president recognizing people in the community, doing that program, calling some of them by name. My mom, this, or this person and that person. So it's same he still recognizes these people, and so he some of the images we've seen from that community are they are breathtaking as far as this park is concerned. Those images show a modern park, quite like any other one in the West. This is exactly why the young people seem to like him. You remember they used to have something they call the Super Friday.
Yeah.
Some of these beach events where students, because of a lack of venue where the students will gather to just play, so they'll have to gather on the beach, and some of the times they'll do drugs and all of that. But those have changed. Now people don't seem to recognize the transformative effect of the Invincible Park. But go there on a weekend or go there on Fridays, and see how that place is so packed. Students just gather there and let out the youthful energy, have fun, dance and all of that. And that's exactly what he's creating across the country now. I understand following the Claratown feed, they're already beginning to break grounds. In fact, they've broken grounds for the one that's supposed to happen in Nuxe Town. And then people wonder why this man is so popular amongst young people, amongst first-time voters, for instance, and what have you. Why they're so passionate, some of the what they're crazy, because that's the only explanation that I saw for Monday. What they're crazy about this man, and all of that, because the interest he shows in young voters, the interest he shows in young people. So I'm trying to reach out to the minister, but I'd like you to weigh in on that a bit before we reach out to him.
I like to, before I weigh in, the president, he's doing something massive in the recreational environment in Liberia. We're coming up, we had names like Claratown, Saigon, Gibraltar. Those were slum communities, right? And he came from those places. But before then, when President Weah was growing up as a boy, even when some of us, after he started playing football, we had very limited playground. We had Sophie ice cream. Okay, we had the Kinaja. Then we had, now you got Sharks. These are places where not every ordinary Liberian will go. But guess what? The president's ability to recognize these slum communities and put recreational places where our people can go, it is speaking to his ability to reduce this mental health crisis that we suffer in our country. Okay, it's very key to know that, Boakai. Not many persons will see the essence. They criticize the Invisible Park. That used to be IE Party's ground. We used to go there. People in the night go and defecate on that pitch. The analyst was right. All right, but today he has transformed that Invisible Park to something else that all Liberians, where you come from, can go there, access your national opportunities. Okay, and it speaks to the fact that the president recognizes that 2004, when the president was at the Arthur Ashe, where he was awarded, that child you saw him holding, he said something. He said that I'm calling on the international community to seize the moment to bring peace to Liberia, so that the children can have the opportunity to go to school and play, so that our people, I went over that. And I'm kind of inspired by that because the president is doing just that. One, he became president, he made education compulsory, WIAC fees payment compulsory for all of the students across the country. He made public education university free. He's moved to creating recreational facilities for our young people. Not just football, the kids can go and play. 3, he's also creating opportunities where Liberians can be a part of all of these different dimensions. I'm
trying to get to the Minister of State Rural Portfolio. We're having some difficulty, but we right now have on the line the Presidential Press Secretary, Isaac Solo Kebe, who will give us maybe a rundown of the president's activities today. Isaac, good morning.
Good morning, Boakai, and good morning to Nuxe and to our many listeners.
Isaac, good morning, bro.
Yeah, tell us,
Good morning, my former friend.
We know this big event that's supposed to be happening today at the Claratown community, where the president will be dedicating, a new park. Tell us about it.
But basically, firstly, before I talk about that milestone development, I just want to add my voice to yours in commending Honorable Eugene Sitone for his preferment. I know most of you have not heard that Sitone name.
No.
But I need inspired to out about it. So he's called Sitone. In other translation, it means you didn't show me this, I know it by myself. So he's a kind of man, like he said, quite across. He's someone who is going to make a significant impact. So like the people said, and the president has always said, the people say, I don't know nothing, but I can recruit the best.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing.
Exactly.
But as an inspiration for other people. So I mean, I think about Namwe Sitone and Namwe preferment is in the right direction, and it's just another way of telling people, yes, we are setting a show of our one-round victory. Now to the big event. Yesterday I walked around the Town Survival Sports Park at it is called, and I mean I couldn't just believe what I saw, because when we used to play what we call in our common saying, the street saying, Jadi football. Jadi infrastructure is like behind the horse. Those small things, those are the areas you go hustle. And you understand to play, call your contact, somebody carry you play, get a lesson there, and that's it. But that place was a place that was muddy, gravel, grass body when you slide. But if you look at that place today, I hope you have the time to go there. You will know that this president needs not to campaign. Because this is the man who did not change his back from where he came from.
No.
And he did not just put a soccer pitch. There's a place for children to play. Our children don't play. Even when you play NAFO, is not even good any longer. So our children, you can take a children crowd, you don't have to come all the way to the invisible park. You take a kids or crowd if you're in a community or neighborhood, and take a kids and they will recreate, they will enjoy themselves. They will play. They have 6 or 10. Then you have 2 modern basketball courts. Whenever you used to come to YMCA to play something, no space, want to come to the complex, they have genuine basketball courts. Even when people are playing basketball, children are playing, when forward games are on, somebody wants to try to exercise, you can walk around, because most of us don't exercise. As a result, when things happen to us, they take a complete toll on us. Yeah. So that facility tells you about that the president wants people to break his record, as he's always said. Yeah. You don't have that facility to play. You will not tell you, oh, because I know I have the facility, so I'm not going to create it for other people. Yeah. No. So people would come out to it, sometimes they say, oh, the president promised to be 3 school horses. He has not paid that, but we are not counting those things that he did not verbally mean that he would do, but he's doing more than that. And you talk about my community, the people in my community now.
Which community is that?
Are you there? Yeah, I'm in my community now. I'm from Sagon now. I'm from the cabinet of the Micat Sagon. I celebrate now.
Sagon.
I'm from the cabinet of the Micat Sagon. I'm from the Sagon. That's where I come from. I went 4 years. I never left for now. So I want my first season.
Yeah, so what will happen in the Nuxe Park?
The Nuxe Park, right? That's why I say, if you're working for somebody who's man of the world, you can celebrate at any given time. The president now has given a word that for character fee, the next president will be doing the big press and it will be all the last just as we are doing 24 hours. So, I mean, we are celebrating because we give it for, it's not for where? West Point, Quarter. For Quarter, Micat. So if you are in
one thing all of these communities share in common is that they are slum communities. So he didn't say, I'm going to build a park in Mama Point, for instance, or Sinker, but I'm going to build it where the poorest of the poor are, so that they benefit from, some of the guest shelter society as well.
So before you come in, so let me just
tell you this. Okay, go ahead.
Let me just add a significant historical point to those communities we talk about. You see Sago, you see Gibraltar, you see Clarendon and West Point. During the days of Moja, when the people had, when the progressives were in their prime, everybody who supported progressives came from those communities.
In fact, those are the communities they were using to recruit.
Exactly.
So they were using them to recruit, but then left them. They were not developing things. Exactly. They were going to West Point and other places to go and recruit for demonstration purposes.
Exactly.
But not for development purposes.
So the president has changed their narrative.
I agree with you. But let me tell you this: when men was boys, or men were boys, we from Sagon, Micat, first way that probably it reached at some age, to get a little thing, they will abandon your community. Even if you were trying to date a girl. You not the guy you live in Micat. You tell them live around Central.
Look at the example that man.
Look at the example that boy you say. I'm just telling you that people were banning those areas because the names that were affiliated with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway, you're right too. Yeah.
To play, but instead he's doing it for people to know it more.
That's
And
true.
that's the point I'm grabbing at.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a president. We know nothing with this on it. The man was playing forward. You are not going to college at the time.
Yeah.
But you're paying to your people who were in colleges. What does that tell you?
It does a lot.
It tells you that this is a man who is getting open with more.
Yep.
Let me bring a quote from the Israeli foreign minister, Gilad Cohen. Mr. President, thank you for what you are doing for Liberia. This time around, somebody in different land, in the Holy Land, this time around, you say you are going to win massively.
Hello? Hello? Oh wow.
I think he got disconnected or something.
Yeah, but I think we got the crux of the message. You know, I mean, these are just some of the things. These are just some of the tangibles that the president's going to get really elected on. You think people can see these things? Look, these guys have used years of lies and vilification. They've talked about all kinds of nasty things about the president. You know, they use a chain of networks, of radio stations and what have you, to just and dedicate their time to just spilling all kinds of falsehoods about the president. But guess what? The demographic that support the president, I've consistently said this, and it seems as if, you know, maybe Monday might have proven me right, that the people don't care about the thing you turn on the radio.
They don't.
If they really care, he was not going to be president in 2018.
No.
You know, they don't care about what you say about him. They love him. They like and they watch what he's doing. They listen to mediums, you know, that support him, such as ours and all of those mediums. They don't care about what you're talking. You're just speaking to yourselves. Let's continue our conversation with
Yeah, sorry we got disconnected.
Yeah.
So that's it. And I don't want for people to say why the president is only focusing on Muslim community is because he comes from there. It's not only that. This is a program that he has designed and that the Minister of State is working on. It will be replicated throughout the 15 sub-political divisions of our country. It will not only be limited to Montserrat.
Including Boakai counties.
We start for a hotel for you. Great men are already working there. So it's going to be replicated throughout our sub-political divisions of our country. And like the foreign minister has online activities for the Independence Day. The president will today go for intercessory worship at the Black Gina Mosque.
Okay.
In Jacobtown, because he's somebody who goes across, he believes our constitution
that it must need that.
Yeah, they call it Black Gina Gate. Probably you know better though, but that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, it's easy to too by the rest of the population. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so that's the first place the president will be beginning from today. You will go there to worship with our Islamic brothers to commit our country in the hands of Allah as we begin our Independence Day celebration. And then today you will promise that at the Town Survival Sports Park. I hope you can make your way to be there. It's a place when you see Boakai, you understand that this president, our president, really means business. And that's the reason why our people.
But man, let's do our regular thing. Can't pick me up. You know, we're having a vehicular challenge today.
Yeah, I think so.
No problem.
Anyway, all right.
Just give me a chance to leave the radio and we'll take it from there.
All right, thank you. That's the voice of the presidential press secretary there. He was giving us some briefings about, you know, what's going to be obtained today. Yeah, but you're going to say.
As a matter of fact, I think the Islamic calendar starts this month, so this is the Muslims' New Year. So yeah, so it's a happy New Year to all of our Muslim brothers and sisters out there.
So just before Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Somebody just sent me the name of the place that. So Solo was right. I was trying to maybe question a bit. Somebody sent me. No, the person said the name of the mosque is actually Black Jinnah Mosque.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the Muslim. So the person telling me is that Solo was absolutely right, that the name of the place is Black Jinnah Mosque. So one thing I just wanted to talk about just before we open the lines are two things. In fact, firstly, that the World Bank has released a report. It is the fourth economic update on Liberia. It's basically tied to, getting rice right. And in this report, firstly, they talk about the expansion of activities leading to, expansion of agricultural activities by almost 5.9%. So contrary to some of the speculations out there, I've said this on this platform quite a lot. Folks, look at the budget. When we receive supplementary support from other international institutions, this has been historic. These support have been coming in as far back as, maybe preceded the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration. So most of the different financiers don't want to do something in economics or accounting, rather, they call double counting. So these people are already sending money for the same project. Then you put money there for the same project. It's just going to go to waste. Mm-hmm. So when you see budget for agriculture, some of the time they post, oh, too small. A lot of agricultural activity happening. This and that. No. There's been a lot of different support already for agriculture. You don't expect the government to double that amount of support by increasing budget. Some of the time you increase the budget, you're going to go to payment of salaries of civil servants. So now the actual agricultural activities. But the government has supervised a lot of different, private sector folks as well as, international folks, plus its own activities that have led to an expansion as far as agriculture is concerned. The last time on the platform I was talking about how we're beginning to see a lot of, the value addition to some of our products. We've seen the chain, the value chain being created in some of the places. We are reforming farming cooperatives and all of that. And it seems as if these efforts are beginning to yield results. So much so that the World Bank and IMF, have recognized some of the efforts Liberia is making to the extent that, we've gotten some plaudits. So we have expanded our agricultural activities, even though they say, because Liberia is heavily dependent on the consumption of rice. And, I think we're the fourth, as far as West Africa is concerned, the highest consumption of rice or so. But because of that dependency on rice, or that preference on rice, and because historically we produce little amount of rice locally, and so we depend on imports. So there's some level of food insecurity as a result of that. But that there's been some value addition. You begin to see farming products from farmers in different supermarkets. Just go to the supermarkets around the place. I know you look at the different shelves, you will see all kinds of, whether it's coffee, the Rudimere coffee, whether it is other cocoa activities and or different products. You see them all over the place. So farmers are beginning to get some money, and so it's yielding results. Plus, the general economy is expanding. So we are moving now to 4.8% growth. Mm-hmm. This shows resilience in spite of the different economic conditions the headwinds the war is faced with globally. There's something economists can call a exogenous factor, which basically is things that are out of your control happening in the international community. In our own case, it will be the Ukraine crisis, some of the lingering effects of COVID and all of that. So those things, in spite of that, Liberia is doing quite well. The World Bank recognizes some of the efforts. Plus, we are consolidating expenditure. We are respecting some of the different reforms, that have been initiated through our cooperation with the IMF and all of those different things. But it is only the opposition folks you will hear talking, say, Liberia economic constraints in Liberia, this, that, or that. Where are they getting it from? And by the way, I just want to also talk about the last time the finance minister was in this very spot that I'm sitting in, he was talking about poverty and how our folks in the opposition like to lie about that poverty is increasing under President Weir. That's lie. That's a lie. That's a big, bold-faced lie. The last economic data that was taken, it happened under the regime of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and poverty started increasing following the Ebola crisis in Liberia. There were gradual, marginal increase in the level of poverty from 2014. It started increasing up to 2017. It was almost 50% poverty rate before President Weir took over the leadership of the country. that has been validated by all of the different data. And that's what the minister was stating here, and some of the folks were arguing. By 2018, 2019, there was some efforts to reduce poverty. The minister said, and that's what, this organization that can do fact checking. They said, the minister said 27,000 people. They said the minister understated the figure that 27,000 people were reduced from poverty or taken out of poverty. That the figure is actually more. I think it was up to 47 or so thousand people that actually reduced within the intervening period before 2020, before the onset of COVID-19. So when COVID hit, that's where about 97 million people in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa went into poverty. And Liberia had its own share. So we divided 97 million people. We had small share. But it was not as a result of the economic policies of the government of Liberia. Poverty started increasing under President Seli. The very folks I've been talking about, they want to replace President Weah because poverty, blah, blah, were the ones that created poverty. And so don't listen to that loud when they say, Taha. No, it is a refrain they repeat because they want you to just, they wanted to resonate with you. It is it's a sound bite. They will say the more they say it sort of resonates with ordinary people. And the ordinary people will not do their own investigation. They just accept it that times are higher now or harder now than it was during the previous administration. When that's not the case, that's not the case. Just do your own investigation and then I realize. The last thing I want to talk about before opening the lines and then before we get to our celebratory students is the fact that Joseph Boakai, the Unity Party put out a statement on yesterday and said that he was leaving the country for a visit that he's going to be leaving the country today for a visit to the United States of America. So this raises a lot of different concerns. It comes in the wake of some of the revelations that were made by talk show host Henry Costa, that the vice president wasn't faring so well, that he was supposed to undergo a triple bypass surgery, and all of that, and that he needed to do that within 6 months. The Unity Party denied that, they strenuously denied it, but it seems as if, the visit of the vice president to the States on the heels of campaign, because campaign starts within a couple of weeks. So a major opposition leader who's supposed to put up a challenge to the ruling party is leaving the country on the heels of campaign to attend a graduation. Does that, does that hold water to you? Anyway, that was their explanation. It might be the case. We got no way of validating that at the moment from our vantage point. But what I can tell you is that the Analyst newspaper, and I'm going to be reading what the Analyst newspaper has said, and this is not from us, it is from the Analyst newspaper. They said they've gotten information which points to something completely different, about the vice president's trip. Well, this link is not opening, but let me go to okay. It says here, but contrary to what the UPCAM is saying, that Ambassador Boakai will use the trip to attend his granddaughter's wedding and tour other cities to meet with diaspora Liberians and potential investors, the Analyst has been reliably informed that the UP's tender bearer is actually going to Rose Island to examine his pacemaker, which was installed in 2018. And they went on to explain that the pacemaker had been malfunctioning lately and all of that. The pacemaker, the former vice president admitted to having a pacemaker that aids with the heartbeat and all of this stuff. And the Analyst newspaper is basically saying that the pacemaker had been malfunctioning according to their sources. And that is why the former vice president is traveling overseas. This is from the Analyst newspaper. So we're opening the lines. Call us on 086-561-537, 080-514-096, 080-514-096, or 086-561-537. Those are the numbers you can use to call this one. 086-561-537 or 080-514, 096. Let's talk to our first caller this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Thank you for money. Yes.
Your name is?
Hello.
Your name is? What is your name? Okay, let's talk to this other caller. Good morning. Good morning. Wow. Our lines are bad this morning. Let's talk to that one. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from? Okay, go ahead.
There seems to be some issues with the
No, not just your line, even mine.
with the general lines. I mean,
issues lately. Good morning. Your name, where are you calling from?
This is Ed Lauren Baba calling you from Nova Gande to be before number 1.
Okay, Baba, go ahead.
Mr. Fofana, I will take a look for the government. The Singapore guy in town, one time is proving to the opposition. If you are smart, you can just join. But then let's join with me there. We're not going to rest until October 10. So those who say outside the stand, they can come. But therefore, the information ministry you have in the country are helping us a lot. So every morning, Friday, thinking you do in the ministry, so therefore, Mr. Fofana, thank you. Say hello to all the friends in your office. Thank you.
By the way, this program is being really live on Micat. It's been really live on Truth 95.5 in Maryland County, Plebo City. Yeah. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from King Wellington, Sama County.
You calling from Sino?
Yeah, King Wellington.
Okay. How is King Wellington Town?
Yeah, King Wellington is kind.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, my allies, each party, the opposition, again, no determinants for them. It sounds that some country will know them, that want to bring some country will know them. But I want you to realize for
we're having difficulty.
I think it's an issue with the MNO. So I think
it's a general because even myself been having issues
MNO.
with that.
It's kind of
we'll try 2 or 3 more. If we can, we'll get to our guests in the studio. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Thank you, Mr. Boakai Fofana, and thanks to your brilliant colleague in studio, and thanks also to the EIBC family for the recognitions. Poker Robert,
the great poker,
and the active chairman for the Friends of Jefferson Tamakochi for the re-election of President George Manley Developmental Oriented. We are.
Okay. Paku?
Anybody to allow you to slip our hand. We'll protect you protectively. Mr. Fofana, we are very happy to have such a blessed, a profitable individual as President of the Republic of Liberia, the excellent President George Manley Developmental Oriented. We are in our midst.
Mm-hmm.
It will get you to know that of Mr. Fofana, on this particular stage that we are in. It is on this stage that we are looking at Liberia to be compared to the great Ghana, to the great USA. That today we can win a full-lane constructed paved road under the excellency watch. Today we can see people of the country cannot play away. You can't wait to generate our treatment. They can be treated adequately right in their home. That's what we call unprecedented progress.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we tell people that our president, we are the best president that go funded. They don't want to tell us to substantiate. But we substantiate with incredible reason.
Yeah, but I allow you to substantiate right now on this platform, right? Go ahead, bro. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fofana. So they get allowed to substantiate, but thank God we are all the biggest platform to substantiate all of our claims. That president, we are the best president that ever funded. Under the excellency watch, today.
No, we gotta go. We gotta go. Let's take other callers. Let's talk to this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Minister Wish and Mr. Boakai. This is James Eastman. CDP James Eastman joining the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
The gentleman who said they pay us to show our money, he's right.
He said why?
The gentleman who said they pay us to show our money, he's right. they pay us because people can't come to Invisible Park. I pay there. They pay our children wives. I pay there.
I know.
Yep.
Our brothers and sisters going to public university free. I pay there.
I pay.
So he's right to say they pay us. Yes. One day he said, let them talk to the
Yeah, of course.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's the balance the president uses to connect with ordinary people.
But you see,
good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Your name, where are you calling from?
This is Abenigo Chief Media. I'm calling for Common Town.
Abenigo, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on your platform. I'm very happy I'm following the shows. You and your co-host. I think I'm very much able to say thanks to you guys.
Okay.
All morning, my parents our president at the city airport. You saw the interview of us to go and tell the president thank you for his 6 years learning. I should tell you, we have the full responsibility again to reach that October 10. Because this is man, we're doing the well for the state, and we all follow the strong work of president. We have remediated the well-known in our countries, and more especially, based on your aspirations and determination of developing the country. So yes, we will do that by re-electing him. We will not deliver all the rhetoric analysis that they coming from the opposition community. We know they are saying what they're doing. Thank you for the time.
thank you so much.
Let's talk to this other caller. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right, we'll take one more call from down there, and then we'll get to our guest. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from? You calling from Voca Mission?
Sure.
How is Voca Mission?
That's AB talk.
The mission is okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Are you the Joseph of the dreamer of the Joseph of the sleeper?
I mean, go ahead. I got no. I get with you on that.
Thank you. You know, this enemy position did not get nothing to tell the Liberian people.
Okay.
Because they were the sleeper of the, they were the Joseph of the sleeper. So they marry the sleeper and feel they may not do anything for themselves. How possible will it be you that are able to rescue yourself? How possible will it be for you to rescue other person? Look at in the entire country, President, we are high in all the 15 countries. People pay wild fees. The one can tell people, I was here, maybe I have 30 to 30 girlfriends. And President, we are paying the wild fee. I have my nephew, my cousin. When the man pay me wild fee, it means that I don't want to be helping them.
Oh, shit. So if you have 60 to how many girlfriends?
About 30 girlfriends.
Shit.
I don't want to be helping.
What about that you can get 30?
That's more.
That's not you know. Anyway, thank you. Let's take our last call from Peter Lynn Peters. Peter Lynn.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Fofana.
Yeah, go ahead. Peter.
Yeah, let me say thanks for the conversation this morning. You know, each time when sedition decide to come out and show love to the president, people will always come and say that they pay us, they give them money. You know how many presidents may be giving money, so if they're having to pay everybody to come over there? So then why is it that when maybe ANC having a rally?
No, they get paid them. They own rally. They get paid them for it.
The 17K that got mentioned only with time.
Anyway, yeah, so that's all the time we're going to use for the callers. For now, we're going to get back to the callers at some point during the course of the conversation. Like I was telling you, hold on. There's one more thing we haven't talked about. There's an event coming up. Sorry, there is an event, sports event, yeah. Yes. You know, there's a sports event coming up. Okay, Minister P is trying to get to me. Okay. Minister P, we tried calling him earlier. It was a little difficult to get through. We're calling now. We seem as if it's not connecting. But let me just read. This thing was posted by Andy Kwame. He asked that I just read it, and then maybe if need be, we'll call him. His Excellency, the Chair of the Cabinet, will lead the Cabinet against the state-owned enterprises, autonomous agencies, and commissions in soccer, basketball, kickball, and volleyball on Saturday, July 22 at the SKD Sports Complex. Members of the state-owned enterprise, autonomous agencies, and commissions who want to participate in this game are advised to contact Richmond Toby Anderson. Okay. Anyway, I think this is this. Okay, so let's just talk about the below schedule. We don't want to talk about who they advise because that's an in-house conversation. The below schedule: game 1, volleyball, going to be at 11 a.m. Then we have game 2, basketball, at 12:30 p.m. Then there's going to be game 3, kickball, at 12 p.m. Game 4, football at 4 p.m. So those are the things. This was posted by the DG of the cabinet, Jordan Solomte. So there's going to be a whole set of events that's going to be happening on the. How we keep missing Minister Kui. Yeah,
try and call him.
Let me call him on the direct line. I mean, I keep seeing missed call from Minister Chokumpi. So it's coming on WhatsApp. So let me just call him direct and see. Minister Kui, if you're listening, we're trying to call you directly. So at least this time around, maybe we can get you on the line to talk. But yeah, you're listening to Mika. You're listening to.
I think along the conversations we can have it on.
Yeah, maybe during the course of the conversation we can have it on. Anyway, okay, we got. That thing is connected. Let's hope that we can get him directly on the line now to talk about the dedication. Minister P has been charged with the responsibility of constructing these gigantic parks across the country.
So well too.
He is the Minister for State with our portfolio. He's been doing so well. So with the dedication of the Claratown Park today, I want to hear to talk about some of the features and all of that. Anyway, guys, let's talk. So the We Are Intellectual movement has been making a lot of headways across the country. It's a new movement that comprises of a conglomeration of people that come from different spheres of society. These are people that are just passionate about the president's re-election. A lot of folks will be concerned and say, "Oh, you say intellectual. I mean, we're not included." No, I mean, it just means you're passionate enough, you're conscientious enough, you're enlightened enough. You want to make sure that the president gets re-elected. You want to help break down some of the walls that have been created by folks in the opposition, the superficial walls and all of that, the lies and all of those stuff. You don't have to have a certain degree or be certain caliber in society and all of that. So we formed this group. We have had some people that have gifted oratory and communication skills that we've amassed together. The likes of Wilfred Bangura, the likes of Isaac Do, the likes of Kanyo Bagbala, the likes of Jacob Jala, the likes of Latin, Daton, Samora, Wolokoli, Aaron, we are. I'm talking about Nigo Kofi. I mean, there's been a lot of different people. We have some women, Amelia, Alimatu, Caroline Myers. These are just different people from all over the place, from civil society as well as within the government, who just want to help communicate the good message of His Excellency, the President. And we have a university chapter now. A different university chapter we intend to create, in Stella Maris, in the University of Liberia, AME, UMU. Now we have the Stella Maris chapter in the studio. They're going to be talking to us about WIM, why did they decide to join WIM, and what we can expect from them. But we have Minister Chokumpi on the line. Minister Kui, good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on your line.
Yeah, we're trying to get you earlier. It was a little difficult. So we had the presidential press secretary who was just talking about the president's itinerary. But you are charged with the responsibility of developing these parks. And today we're going to be dedicating the the Claratown one. Tell us about some of the features.
Yeah, the Claratown Survival Sports Park, facility entails one 45 by 90 soccer field. We also have a 23 by 14 basketball court. We have a children playground. We have a mini office. We also have changing rooms for teams that will be playing. We have restaurant. We have the generator area, and we have security booth. We also have an area that people can sit to watch games. So that's what we will be opening. And the total area that was developed is a little over 1.65 acres of land.
Wow.
So if we were to put it in square meter, it's approximately 6,640 square meters.
Wow. And how do we suppose this is going to help the community?
It will bring a massive boost to the community. One, we knowing that we have already tried a pilot with the Invisible Park, we know the kind of social economic impact that it's been having in that area. If you drive around the Invisible Park, you see new businesses emerging. You also see people now can come and hang out, and you know what sports does. It does not just give you the physical ability; it also helps your mental capacity.
Yeah.
At the same time, the characteristics of sports is also transferred in other discipline and careers. So it's a good thing, and especially where most of the president priority projects are in underprivileged area. We have kids that would not have they would have never had the opportunity to have a modern facility that they can also enjoy. And so today, the president will be doing that for them. And it's a blessing to be part of these projects because I see the kind of impact and I see how people are happy. Last week when we turned on the lights and thanks to LEC at the park, you could hear people jubilating in the entire character and Doe community area. It speaks a lot. And if you look at the images around on Facebook, what the president has erected in character, that's a state-of-the-art facility in the middle of a slum community.
Yeah.
And it's something that it tells a lot about where the president comes from and who he is as a person. So I'm very much happy to be the head of his delivery unit, and together he's making, we are making history. He's making history, and the unit that only used to track projects today is implementing projects, and this is what is the kind of vision that His Excellency Joshua brings on the table.
When is the program beginning today? What is he going to be doing? The president, I mean.
Today, the program, like we usually do, because since most of the facility that we build, you have the opportunity to use it day and night. And so the program starts at 4 o'clock, where the survival veteran has informed me that they will march from where they used to dress when the president played for survival and march on the field, where there will be an official program marking the opening of the Claratown Survival Sports Park. And then after that, the Claratown the two communities, the young people from the active players from the two communities will be playing each other in the first game, and then the survival caucus, Prioritize caucus will be playing survival veteran, and so that would be the activities that will be going on today, and so we are happy. And one thing I also want to share with you, this morning the entire community is out, and they are cleaning all by themselves, and they are working the drainages. It tells you the kind of appreciation they have for what the president has done.
Yeah. Two last questions. What are the statuses of firstly the PHP park and I know that there's going to be a lot of development on the D12 in Yucatan.
And PHP, I'm happy to say that we have completed almost all the captain that we had to do. Now, the boat work, all the captain of the boat work is done. The resettlement work is done, and now we are only waiting for continuing to come in country for us to tell you the actual day that PHP will open.
More than 5 months away?
No, trust me, you will be, before you even cast a ballot, you will have used PHP for almost a month and plus.
Okay.
I don't want to call a specific date because right now we are tracking the containers that are coming, and what is in country already, I think we're still expecting like 6. I'm told that 5 will be in country mid-August. And as the continuous come, we just gonna keep working. Right now, we completing the sidewalk and the basketball and football field is we have already started. Both of them are being worked on, and in the next week or 2, you will start seeing finishing. Different finishing portions with around that area, and so that's what we are really doing for PHP. But I can assure you, by the time we come to the end of August, hopefully we will have PHP being open. That at least the whole month of September we can also use PHP, and so we are happy.
And
to update you on D12 is on steroids because right now we are moving at a record speed. We completed the drainage system at D12 already. We are doing the compartment, which is the underground work that we usually do before we start to lay out the actual crop for the turf account. Right now, we don't have the turf in country. It has been ordered and shipment. It will be shipped out next week. It takes currently a month. It takes a month and a week to get an idea based on the tracking that we receive. And so hopefully, and I'm very sure that DP will also be finished before we get into October.
Wow.
Other than those 2 projects, I've been speaking with the finance minister. We also spoke with the vice president. My boss also had an opportunity for us to sit, and we sent out a technical team in Boakai County to do assessments for what we would term as the Boakai County Park. And so
we are doing. We're spreading this thing across the country.
Yeah. But remember, there are 2 different projects that is actually going on. One of the projects that that is going on, that will be going on in the county, that is going on as we speak, is implementation of the county tour, which list is actually spearheaded. And then from the president delivery unit, there are specific projects that are earmarked by the president that we have to do. And so I'm sorry. And so, as I was just saying, going to Boakai is something that we had to have the marching order from our boss, who is the president. And so we did all the feasibility. We did assessment, and now we are doing feasibility studies and looking at things we can do in Boakai. But we have already completed the 3D drawing of what we will be doing in Boakai. And now we're speaking because that project is massive, it's bigger. It's not a project where, like other projects where we could, the president is spending resources. Other than that, we have our three great friends, NPA, Marita, and NASCAR. For the Bone County is bigger, and so we are speaking with the finance minister that it can be captured, or we can use a budgetary allocation to be able to complete it. And so the discussion is ongoing, but we already have designs. We know what would be there. And if you think Invincible Park is beautiful, or PHP look good, or prioritize today, watch out for Bone County. What we have in store for you is even better.
Wow. Well, that's the voice of the Minister of State without Portfolio, Chokonkwi. We want to thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's the voice of Honorable Minister Chokonkwi there. Yeah, so you see, the president is building parks, infrastructure across the country. And then we're going to get back down to Wind Chapter in Stella Maris. Let's have them introduce themselves. First, we're going to begin with each of you. Let's start, apparently with the leader of the group.
Boakai, I want to say thank you for having me on the show this morning.
Okay.
I appreciate that. And first of all, my name is Brian Blaze Nats.
Okay.
I'm the student of Stella Maris Polytechnic University.
Okay.
And I'm a member of the We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris chapter, to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I study economics at Stella Maris Polytechnic.
Okay. Blai, thank you. Let's talk to the next person.
Thank you, Boakai. My name is Mawata Tisali, a sophomore student at the Stella Maris Polytechnic University, majoring in civil engineering. I am.
Go ahead.
I am the chairperson on mobilization and recruitment of the We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris Polytechnic University chapter.
Okay. The next person.
Boakai, let me say thank you for giving us this time, right?
Get closer to the mic.
Yeah.
I am Austin Kiewia from Stella Maris Polytechnic University, reading electrical engineering senior student.
Okay.
And co-chair for We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris chapter.
Well, we have some brilliant young people in the studio. I wouldn't surmise, maybe without getting to without being too specific and maybe being so intrusive, but I don't think you probably on the 30 maybe 30, maybe I said 30 I'm thinking about 30.
They remind me of my days there, 2005.
Is Stella Maris?
Yeah. that's how we were.
But why you became a member of the We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris chapter?
Thank you again for this opportunity. First of all, I've been hearing about the We Are Intellectual Movement some months ago. Several months ago, and I've learned a lot about it. And then we as a team decided to have a chapter on campus. So we decided to invite consider Bob Bada, since he's the chairperson of the We Are Intellectual Movement. And then
chief propagandist.
Chief propagandist, okay.
Yeah,
and then we decided to have a meeting.
Yeah.
We decided to have a meeting with Councilor Bala. And then after having a meeting with him, he decided like, oh yeah, it was a good idea. And then we can establish this in the school, and then we can move forward on spreading the message to the people, especially in Stella Maris. So we established the movement in early June, where we called it We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris chapter. So there where we came from.
Okay. And Mawata, how you became a member?
Thank you, Boakai. I became a member by my friend when he told me about the movement, and then we met Councilor Bagbala, and we talked to him about the movement that we wanted to join. And he said, yes, that is a good idea. He told us more about the movement, and then we all agreed to establish our chapter.
You can say the name again?
Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Austin. Yeah. So why did you become a member?
Firstly, let me say thank you. I became a member through one of my mentors, which is Kansifakanyo Babala, and you know he's a partner instructor at Stella Maris, where he teaches business law.
Okay.
And he shared the vision and achievement of President Weir over the past time. And looking at the table, it proved that we want a developmental president that will open the minds of youth to education and so forth. From that standpoint, it made me to feel that yes, I need to be part of this to encourage the youth out there to make Liberia a better place for us.
We should say that Councillor Gbara is the chief propagandist of the We Are Intellectual movement. We also have the vice president, Isaac Doe, and Secretary General Jacob Jala. We also have other vice president Vivian, McGill. Councillor Gbara has been all out there helping to recruit some of these young kids. So that's why you see them reference him quite a lot. Now let's talk about why President Weir and not other candidates, in the race. Why President Weir? Blai, let's start with you.
Thank you again. Well, why President Weir is to be president for this nation again, and not other candidates. I chose President Weir because of the development he has done for our country today, especially for the young people. For example, President Weir was the first president since Liberia was founded to introduce a free school. All you need to do at the University of Liberia, all you need to do is just go and take entrance and then go to school to learn. President Weir was the first person to pay over 250,000 students who have benefited through WAS fees. And then when you go to infrastructure, President Weir have done well. And President Weir is just the kind of president who is relating to people in this country. So for me, supporting President Weir is very simple. So yeah, that's why I want to support President Weir.
That he relates to young people?
He relates to young people. And
what's about Joe Boakai? Other people that don't relate to young people?
Joe Boakai, well, Joe Boakai, what can I say about Joe Boakai is that a man who spent a man who spent like 40 plus years in power and cannot show what he have done for the Liberian people. It says that let's just being naive, like he only wants this for himself. And then speaking of Joe Boakai, let's just give an example of Lofa County. What have you done for the people in Lofa County? Mm-hmm. He hasn't ever facing road in Lofa County for the people in Lofa. Give an example when he was in power 12 years ago, right? What have you done or what have you served through the 12 years in power, apart from him being in power 40 plus years? I've never seen, since I came to Earth, I've never seen a man who have been in power, like a vice president who have been in power, and I ain't able to do anything for like
for 40 plus years. That is 2 times your age.
2 times my age. More than 2 times my age, I guess.
Let's talk to Mawata. What do you think? Why you support President Weir?
Because he has done so many things for the Liberian people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at women empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
President Weir has empowered a lot of women in positions of authorities that they are bearing now. Look at the Supreme Court. It is headed now by a female Chief Justice. Look at Freeport in PA. It is headed by a female. Commerce is headed by a female. Let's look at the rules, schools, health sectors. President Weir had done so many things. Look at Clarendon today. It will be dedicated.
Well, what about the young people? What would you say? You're a young woman yourself.
President Weir relates to the young people. Yes, he reached out to the young people. Like I made reference to the Invisible Park. People go there to have fun, most especially the youth.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Clarendon today. Children will no longer play marble, but rather play football. Enjoy that.
Have you met him in person?
Nah. Yeah, I really want to meet him.
But I mean, some people say your the young people just love him, but they don't know the reason why. Does that speak to you?
I love President Weah because he paid my wife's fee. Yes.
Oh, what class were you at the time? Before, what's your status now at the Stella Maris?
Sophomore.
You're a sophomore student.
Yeah.
So 5 years back, no, not 5. In fact, 3-4 years back, you were in the 12th grade.
There is a conflict.
And he paid your wife's fee.
Oh yes.
So that's why you want to pay him back.
Yes.
Oh wow, Austin, that's the same case.
This is senior.
Firstly, let me say thank you for that question. Now, looking at the individual President George Weah, it speaks volume to Liberian politics. Today, you go at JFK, you have the first of a kind dialysis center that people with kidney problem can now go there.
Okay.
Go to education, or let's say health, right? 5 years back, you have our doctors making less than $700. Today, they make 1,000, 2,000 plus. That's some of the goodness. Like my colleague said, wise. Today, our parents relied on President George Weah because he made a commitment to pay our brothers and sisters wise fee once he's a president. Far back, University of Liberia, President now, small, we are in a private university, right? But President, we have made commitment to free education at all public university and colleges. My friends at TU now, they can benefit from the president. Basel Community College, and so forth. Even at Stella Maris, the last time I checked Stella Maris record, some of my friends, about 50, some or plus, on President George Weah own scholarship. That speaks volume to the political landscape of Liberia.
Yeah, it does.
And we hope that and pray President Weah is going back for another 6 years.
But how are you going to ensure that this happens? Because he seems to have a lot of challenge from folks, or that's what at least they say. That's what they say.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Mawata, what do you think?
President Weah will win this upcoming election because we will mobilize, we will not rest, we will convince the youth.
You mean as a member of WIM?
Yes.
Okay.
Most especially the first-time voters. We will talk to them. We will have program to attract them. When it comes, we'll try to spread the message why they should vote President Weah.
Okay, and looking at you as an individual, I'm speaking generally in your community. Since the president came to power, as young people, what are some of the differences in terms of relationship that you see in your communities, contrary to the last 6 or 12 years? So let me give an example. The beauty pageants today, the queens. How do you see the level of promotion of young people with regards to the president?
Well, my community, we don't really do beauty pageant, but
just generally,
yeah,
I was just giving an example.
But people go in the name of CDC to have, like, let's say, football tournament, and most of the youth come around to FIFA.
Well, to that question, I'll get an example of district number 17, district number 9, about the beauty passion. Today, you got young people who are able to win cards through beauty passion and through the investment of President Weah.
Ordinary young people.
Ordinary young people.
Yeah.
Like a lady in district number 17, her name is Margaret. And then she won that beauty passion. And then in district number 9, district number 8, the girl that won district number 8 beauty passion, she instead of married Polytechnic University. I was on that program with the representative of district number 8 at Carter's Gray when that something started. And then in that today in my community, I personally established a football tournament of the Black League. A Black League in my community. I officially started a Black League.
What motivated you?
By being more young people together to be able to achieve, and then for me to be able to explain to them that this is what we're doing to encourage them to vote for President Weah.
Blai, I want to ask you a question. And I saw you there on Monday. It would seem as if
on the Thank You rally.
The Thank You rally.
Okay.
There were a lot of young people, from all walks of life that turned out. It seemed as if they made up more than 60%, if not more, of the number of people that turned out. Why do you think that is so? I mean, what's your own explanation for that?
Thank you, Boakai. It's very simple, right? Like, young people these days are very happy with President Weah. Number one, President Weah came into power and promised the people a lot of things that he's going to do. I'll always give reference on the Invisible Park.
Okay.
Today, our students are no more able to go on Super Friday, to go on beaches and go smoke and do this.
Bly, wouldn't mind if I ask you, how old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm 20 years old. And the students are no more able to go on beaches, take drugs, do this and do that, but you have to go to the Invisible Park to play football, play basketball. Our children are coming up, going to the pool, to the Invisible Park, swimming and training and doing as well. I'm a fan of the Invisible Park. Today, my school has a game at the Invisible starting by 1 o'clock. But I think I can be able to make it. So we'll be playing more partying.
So that's how you use the Invisible Park.
Invisible Park, yeah.
See?
So apart from the Invisible Park, you get Mr. President, we have been into roads, construction, and motorcyclists, our market women.
Is it popular on your campus, for instance?
President, we are popular on my campus. I'm the chairman, of course. So President, we are.
No, we mean generally outside of the WIM's perspective.
Okay, outside of the WIM perspective, President, we are is popular on my campus.
Correct.
Or on the street, the social man, everybody want to vote President. My mob is my problem.
Because I remember when I started Stella Maris 2005, it was just we were just going towards the elections, and I was one of the ordinary students studying architecture and building construction on a PNAD.
Thank you. He's my father.
You PNAD son?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's one of my mentors. That's my mentor there. Tell you saw his son Daniel. So and I remember we started serious political movement there at Stella Maris. At some point in time, Anthony Henry was the president of the SRC, and I was the chairperson for the Intellectual Discourse Committee. Yeah. And we started to use that environment, to promote President Weah's, because we knew, in fact, we were taking him from the perspective of how he placed Liberia on the map to soccer, his role during the 1997 crisis, all that. So there were a series of arguments. And guess what? Those arguments started to draw Sister Mary Lawrence's attention. And bam, before you knew it, it was close. So that's why we ask, what is the general momentum in terms of awareness as it relates to the president, with the students there on campus, contrary to before?
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're waiting for school to open September before elections, and then when school open, we'll be able to.
And by the way, I should state that is when WIM's going to. In fact, we're already beginning to do that, but that is when WIM going to activate all of the different campus cells. Right now we were able to recruit a few of you from Stella Maris, and we're doing that as we speak with AME University during the vacation classes. But we might be able to get much larger numbers across the different universities by late August, September, when school opens. But let me get to Mawata. Bly was saying something about the popularity, but before then, asking a personal question, he was talking about being 20. I don't think you're 22 either. 21. Good. You see, so, and you guys are bright. Why do you think a lot of young people showed up on Monday?
I will always make reference to the WAS fee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's another way. That's the way people want to repay the president, because he pay, let's say, most of the young girls or boys that you saw on the street doing the thank you rally WAS fee.
Wow. So you think you want to repay him for doing that? Yeah. And someone will say, the previous leaders didn't seem to think about this before. They were fixated on sending some of their cronies to colleges overseas, scholarship programs that they were not even merit-based. They just pick partisans of their institutions, send them overseas and this, that. But we could have put that money to better use, such as paying wire fees. Yeah, and so what are you going to be doing now? What are you going to be doing now as far as, in addition to voting for him yourself, what are you going to be doing to ensure that others do the same?
Going out to the youth, convince them, push the logic, and tell them why President Weah should be re-elected because he is a developmental leader.
So some of your colleagues, what do they say? I'm sure you might, because right now everybody engaged in some sort of intellectual argument. They may not good, that man good, this and that. So who do you think dominates this argument? What name of the candidates?
President Weah.
I mean, you're not just saying that because you're ready in the studio.
Yeah.
Why you say that?
Because I'm off.
Oh, I see.
But besides that Stella Maris, you see, President Weah will obviously resonate because I still remember there are a lot of students, like you said, there are a lot of students there who are relying on scholarship. And what the Ministry of Education has done, which is very unusual, is that every year, that this November, they're going to open a new stuff for scholarships. And there's no biasness in it. You just go and apply. Once your grade points are met, you have the scholarship.
Austin, let's talk about you. Were you at the thank you rally?
100%.
Oh, I didn't see you. What you?
Exactly.
Oh, you saw me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We marched together.
We marched together. Yeah, we marched together. Yeah. Okay. But why did you think a lot of young people turn out that number?
Being a developmental president, paying fees. Understand one thing, right? Majority of us go there for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I personally went there to tell him thank you for taking my old mothers that used to sell down Relay Market and being the Omega. The new Redemption Hospital that is under construction. The Invisible Park. The center at JFK. Schools. And so on. Looking at President Weah as an individual, he has changed the mindset of this entire politician. He has brought the table to the young people to discuss the real issues. Tell me your problem and I will solve it. A few months back when he did the Invisible Park, people started to cry from West Point. He said, oh, okay,
I'll go in there.
Send your one fee, I will pay your fee. Clarita raised the issue.
Yeah.
He said, okay, today,
I'll go in. Yeah.
Now, Nuclear is raising the issue, right?
Yeah.
We in the
where you doing at the university? You doing political science?
I say one you know. I say that way politics say what agriculture.
All of you are politicians, because all of you talking, you are doing different courses, but
the president is one person we can rely on to mold the minds of the youth, because, like the minister was saying, at Stella Maris, if you look at the government scholarship alone, is run 75% in the school. Only government scholarship.
Yeah, that Boakai.
Wow.
You got various ministries that have students in Stella Maris. Then the president himself has his own scholarship running.
Wow.
So we have government scholarship and the president scholarship. Probably Stella Maris will not run. You get student out. A few months back, we had a delay in the MOE scholarship paid, and I tell you, it was really tough. Normally at Stella Maris, they asked student out, and within a week, that check was available.
Lastly, let me ask all of you, what do you think of the Weah intellectual movement? What can you say to other young people out there? Because we're going to be going to their doorsteps.
Sure. The Weah intellectual movement is a movement that's going to mold the mind of the youth. But in what sense? We got people out there that are preaching politics, but we are going to preach realities to them. If you want to debate the issues, come to the table, let's debate it. Tell me why your candidate has done over the past time. Let me bring mine. For example, I can boast my candidate pay fees. Tell me, if he said 50 years, what he have done? He building hospital. Like, the hospital that is in Papolu. The 14 military hospital is first of a kind, right?
The Emirates.
Tell me, if you want for me to vote for your candidate, encourage me.
Yeah.
If you can't encourage me, then I have to encourage you for you to join the team.
Martha, what do you think? What can you say to that? How has the Weah intellectual movement influenced you, and what are you going to be doing on this behalf?
First of all, I feel very good being part of this movement because as I've seen a lot of educated men and women supporting the president. Even though people say that the president does not like education, he invests more into sporting activities. But seeing group of educated men and women coming together to support
That's
the
a
president
powerful statement, yeah.
means something to me. And actually, I feel so good.
It sort of defeats the narrative
exactly
that a lot of intellectuals are not around him. When you see people that you aspire to be, coalesce around the president. Let's talk to Blight. Blight, what do you think?
What's the question?
The question was, why do you aspire to be a member of the We Are Intellectual movement, and how are you going to help accelerate its activities?
Well, I was inspired by my mentor, Councilor Barbara, and I feel good of being part of this. And to be honest with you, first of all, we'll start with schools to be able to spread the message to our students who are in 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, who are already registered to vote. And we're going to start from there, and we'll also start in our own university, Stella Maris, by bringing more people on board on the We Are Intellectual movement. And then we will be going to communities from out of towns, different places, from doors to doors, to spread the message to re-elect President Weah. First of all, I don't even know the reason why people say President Weah is going against a lot of candidates, because I see President Weah as the only candidate. So we are going. Now President Weah ought to be re-elected, but we'll wait for October 10th.
Anyway, earlier I tried calling on the Deputy Minister for Sports, the Minister of Youth and Sports. He's on the line. He wants to give us a rundown of activities that's going to be happening tomorrow at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex. Minister Andy Kwame is on the line. Minister Kwame, good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you, sir?
We're doing quite well. We understand there's going to be, activities on tomorrow, sporting activities between members of the cabinet and SOEs, other autonomous agencies and commissions.
Yes, as you are aware, the celebration for the July 26th independence started yesterday with the Golden Image Award, and today the president, as you are aware, also will be visiting other facilities, the mosques and other places, and finally in the evening he will go at the Clarendon Sports Place where he would dedicate a modern facility that was built by the president PDU unit. And Saturday tomorrow the all sports day for the independence celebration. The president or core cabinet led by the president will be playing public corporations, autonomous agencies, state-owned enterprises tomorrow at the SKD, where the volleyball match will start at 11 in the SKD Sports Gymnasium. After that, there will be a basketball game with the cabinet led by the president of Liberia versus the SOE. After that, there will be a keyboard match at the SKD Sports Page. Cabinet also versus the SOE. The cabinet team will be led by Piso, Senica, Ruth.
In the keyboard match, that keyboard match gotta watch you.
I see him,
Minister Selma Sawyer, Minister Tannen Bronson, they were the top players of the cabinet.
Wow.
SOE will be led by Tapa Megre and the rest of them. So
we are intellectual people there. Tapa Megre, Minister Ta.
Yeah, the keeper Majo. I mean, Minister Tala and Tapa are very close friends. So
they'll be rivals tomorrow.
It'll be a fun agency. The basketball team of the cabinet will be coordinated by Minister Samuel Wuru. And so, I mean, we will pray that everybody come around just for the fun of it and also to release ourselves of the stress for the July 26th independence celebration.
Definitely.
The president will be here. The president will be playing in basketball. He will be playing volleyball. He will also be playing football.
We'll be there all day.
All cabinet ministers who can play basketball can contact Wuru. Those who can play also volleyball can also contact. I mean, we are around. I'm the general coordinator. So whoever is an assistant minister, director, deputy minister in the cabinet who wants to play, please let us know, and we can include you in the match. If you can play volleyball, let us know. Send us your interest or where you want to play. It's just for fun. It's not. We are not doing it for trophy. It's just for the fun and to cabinet to have the opportunity of interacting with their colleagues and to interact for the July 26th celebration. Tomorrow is dedicated exclusively as a sports day.
Thank you so much. That's the voice of Minister Andy Kwame. Andy Kwame is the Deputy Minister for Sports at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We will take 3 calls, 080-514-096, 080-514-096, or 086-561-537, 088-656-1537. Let's talk to this first caller. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Philip. I'm calling from Monrovia, Rosie Highway.
Okay, Philip, go ahead.
I happen to be the Secretary General of the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're in Monrovia?
Yeah, that's right. I'm doing some work here. I can get some.
Okay, go ahead. Your line is bad. Your line is bad. You got to maybe move around the callers back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, then let's try again and see. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. You better.
Yeah, so let me thank you all for the wonderful program and the message you continue to preach. I just like to add that, as a matter of fact, we are constructing for the first time a football pitch in River G.
Oh, wow.
As you know, River G is hosting this year's Candid Meet. And not only is it hosting, but River G is a venue for the national launch. So we are building it, and with the support of the president, the project is on course. That's what I want to say also, the way the opposition folks are trying to twist the arms of facts, it's not helping them. Just recently I called on OKFM in our conversation about the step with the kilometers. Mm-hmm. And everybody was running with it. Some people calling me my manager, you do it. You. So I went back to clarify, and all those people who are calling me, nobody called me. They want to clarify the issue. Yeah. So I just said, these people already pressure is going to the arms of facts.
Yeah.
That's so you can be politics, on the business of falsehood.
Okay, Honorable Superintendent, we gotta go. We got limited time. Let's take one more call. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
I'm Felix Walker, calling from Banner State. Member of the Real Intellectual Movement, Ceremony Chapter.
Oh, okay, that's good. Go ahead. That's great.
Yeah, listening to my colleagues in studio. I must applaud them for their discourse. A few points I want to speak to.
Okay, go ahead.
On the issue of the president and why he should be re-elected, I think this president has done exceptionally well in the governance of the country, ranging from health, education, rural connectivity, infrastructure, development. These things are exceptionally impactful to a nation. Speaking of health, we can boast of the Hospital, the one in Babudu, the MA Hospital, and the one down in Riverside or River G in there. So there are regions that are affected. We can boast of the renovation of the Flower Wall, one of the most impactful walls right now at the GFP, the Flower Wall.
Okay, thank you. We got to go. Let's get our final comments from each of you, and then we close up. That's how you, Austin.
Yeah, let me say thank you for hosting us, and we look forward to come back on this show to push the message of our candidate, President George Manuel. And we want to say, I personally want to say thank you to Councillor Kanye Babala for helping me to get the clear message of the vision of President Weah, because back then I was kind of down the line, not understanding the actual vision, but since he gave me the footprint, it made me to go further.
Okay. Martha?
Thank you for hosting us, and I want to thank President Weah for all what he has done for us, and I want to wish him well as I go out there to campaign for him.
You're going to be going to communities?
Yes.
On your campus?
Yes. And I want to thank Councilor Kanyo Bagbala for bringing me on board.
Okay, Blai.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Boakai. Thank you, Daniel Thomas, for this great opportunity for coming on the show. And I want to tell the president, if you are listening to this, I want to tell you thank you for everything he has done for the Liberian people, for the youth, for our mothers, for our nurses and doctors, for the people, the young ladies who are empowered today.
We are. I'm being told that we are out of time.
And I want to say a big thanks to Councilor Kamwe Babala for this opportunity and letting me to be on the team, and not just on the team, but a chairman of the We Are Intellectual Movement Stella Maris Polytechnic chapter. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay. We want to say thanks to all of you. We also want to thank Councilor Bala, who we, seconded to go and help with your different recruitment at the Stella Maris chapter. The We Are Intellectual Movement is expanding. We're going to be creating the different county chapters in order that, we want to thank all of our members, from Latin Daton to Daniel Nuxe Thomas, who's also one of the great, communicators of the movement, to James Creighton, to Ishaka Sharif, to Alimatu, to Caroline, to Emilia, Azeg, Nigo, Wilfred Bangura, Jacob Jala, Kanyo Bagbala, and a host of other people. So I'm on behalf of two capacities here, myself as chairman of the group, but also in my capacity as Deputy Minister of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism. We want to say thank you to all of you for listening to this edition of the show. Bye-bye. Bye-bye from Monrovia. Join us again next week for a brand new edition of Micat.